Today we are going to discuss about the topic of the simplex method. So this method is used to solve the linear programming methods. So the question is to solve the linear programming by using the simplex method. So in the simplex method, they will be giving you the question by with the two variables and then three variables. With the two variables, the maximize function of z they have specified, and then two equations they have specified it. So in the question clearly they have mentioned that this is a maximization function. So for the maximization function, the optimality condition to be reached as, for the maximality function, cj minus of zj should be as less than or equal to 0, and then for minimization it should be as cj minus of zj should be greater than or equal to 0. So according to our problem, the condition is matched is the maximization of cj minus of zj should be as less than or equal to 0. So let us proceed this problem. So what we should do in the sense means, for the simplex method, initially the maximization functions, the function they are specified it is of two variables, so we need to add two basic variables. So the two basic variables what we need to add is s1 and s2 should be added, and then following with that respective functions, first equation s1 should be added, and then the second equation s2 should be added, and then the simplex table should be framed. So the what are the columns we should present in the initial simplex table is, we should have the coefficient of the basic variables, and then this is a basic variables column. These are x1 x2 and then s1 s2 column. This is a solution column, and then this is a ratio column. So in that first part we should do in the sense means, this part is of maximization functions basic variables coefficient of s1 is 0 and then s2 is of 0, and then the basic variables we should write as s1 and s2. Then we need to see the coefficient of s1 is 0, this should be written, and then s2 of 0 we need to see the maximization function of z, and then should be written here. And then next, in the first equation of the given linear programming, we need to see the corresponding coefficient of x1, that is 10, and then x2 is of 20, s1 is of 1, no s2 is here, so we need to put this as 0, and then constant is of 120. Again in the second equation, it is of the first value is 8, and then x2 coefficient is 8, and then no s1 is there, so we need to put it as 0, and then s2 as 1, and then the constant is of 80. So next what we need to do in the sense means, we need to find the zj. So how we need to find the zj in the sense means, this column entirely should be multiplied with the x1, that is the first value of cbi into the first value of x1 plus again the next value of cbi into the next value of x1, and then the total should be added, and then the result should be produced in zj. Example, 0 into 10 plus 0 into 8 will be 0, 0 into 20 plus 0 into 8 will be a 0, 0 into 1 plus 0 into 0 will be a 0, again 0 into 0 plus 0 into 1 will be a 0. So this will be your zj part, and then cj and then cj minus of zj we should calculate it to reach the optimality condition. So cj is of this value, should be this values, entire thing should be separated with the zj values individually. So 12 minus of 0 will be 12, 16 minus of 0 will be a 16, again 0 minus of 0 will be a 0, and then 0 minus of 0 will be a 0. So in this what we should do in the sense means, after finding the values, so in this we need to find which one is of highest one. So here to reach the optimality condition, we have the formula, that is cj minus of zj should be less than or equal to 0 for the maximization function. So here we need to check whether we are getting all as 0 or less than 0. So two values which are greater than 0, so we didn't reach the optimality condition. So again we need to iterate the simplex table. So what we need to do is, two things we need to find. We need to find the key column and then key row, and then the pivot element we should find. So first how we should find the key column in the sense means, after finding the cj and then zj minus zj values, in this we need to find which one is of the maximum value. So 16 is of maximum value, see the corresponding column. So the corresponding column's basic variable is of x2, so this is the highly positive value, we will be saying that to be as a key column value. So then what we should do in the sense means, we need to find the key row. How we should find the key row in the sense means, so in the solution part, so this corresponding key column value should be divided with the solution values. So 120 divided by 20 will be as 6, again 80 divided by the key column value of 8 will be as 10. So in this we need to see which one is of smaller value. So smaller value is of 6, so we need to put the arrow mark over this, and then we should write this as your leaving variable. So leaving variable, see the variable, the leaving variable is of s1. So the s1 is of leaving variable. Then we should put the circle like this, and then we should write this to be as your key row. So what we will be saying, so this will be as your key row, and then this should be your key column. So in this key row and then key column, which element is of intersection? 20, the element is of intersection, so this element is said to be the pivot element. So then what we should do to proceed with the next iteration is that we need to proceed with the next iteration with the same column values. And then what we should do in the sense means, we know that the entering variable is of x2 and then the leaving variable is of s1. So what we should do in the sense means, so leaving variable we need to replace. So instead of s1 we need to replace it with the variable as x2. So instead of s1 we need to replace it the variable with the x2. And then next what we should do in the sense means, this entire s1 column, s1 rows variable should be divided by the key element of 20. So 10 divided by 20, again 20 divided by 20 will be 1, and then 1 divided by 20, 0 divided by 20 will be 0, 120 divided by 20 will be as 6. So this is the value we will be getting it. So this is the part we have found for the x2, that is s1 is replaced by x2, and then we have divided this entire row by the key element or the pivot element. We have got this value. So now we need to find the value. So in this we have marked this, and the corresponding time for the CBI, so we need to mark the x2's coefficient. So what is the x2's coefficient? 16. So that should be placed here. Okay, so and then the next step for s2, how we need to find in the sense means, the each cell value we need to find it of individual. So how we need to find in the sense means, we have a formula for that. What is that formula is, new value equal to old value minus of corresponding key column into corresponding key row. So in this we have that to find it. So see here, in this what we need to do in the sense means, old value minus of corresponding key column into corresponding key row value divided by the key element. So we need to find the value for this s2's, the first value. So what we need to do is, see the s2's corresponding old value, the old value is 8, so right here, and then corresponding key column value. So key column value in the sense means, this is your key column, in this key column is matched is 8, so we need to put it as 8 here. And then corresponding key row in the sense means, in this you go to the key row column, key row part, in the key row part it is matched as 10, so we need to put it as 10, divided by, we know the key element or the pivot element is 20. So after doing this evaluation part, at last we will be getting the answer as 4. This should be redirect to the table as 4. So likewise we need to put for the next value. So the next value for s2 we need to calculate, that is for x2. So again we need to substitute in this formula. See this s2 second value, the old value is of 8, so old value is 8 minus of corresponding key column value. So the corresponding key column, so in this column it is matched as 8, so 8 we are putting it, and then corresponding key row value. So key row value in the sense means, the row part it is matched as 20. So then the row part it is matched as 20. So 8 into 20 divided by the pivot, the key element is of 20. So 20 will be getting cancelled. 8 minus of 8 will be 0. This value will be redirected to the table again. So the same procedure, we need to find the values for the S1 part and then S2 part. We need to do this, and then the calculations are made. So the values of minus 2 by 5 will be redirected here, and then the value of 1 will be redirected here, and then the value of 32 will be redirected here. So after framing these values, once again we need to do the procedure again to find Cj minus of Zj. So I told that how to find the Cj minus, that is once calculating all these values by redirecting into the S2, we need to calculate the Zj. So how the Zj will be calculated is, we need to multiply 16 into 10 divided by 20 plus 0 into 4 plus 0 into 4. So what's the value you will be getting? So what's the value you will be getting is 8. So again the next part value of Zj we should calculate. 16 into 1 plus 0 into 0, obviously it will be a 16, Again 16 into 1 by 20 plus 0 into minus of 2 by 5. The value will be minus of 4 by 5. Again 16 into 0 plus 0 into 1. The value will be 0. So this is of the Zj value. So again we need to find the Cj minus of Zj value. So Cj minus of Zj value will be calculated by subtracting the entire Cj's values with the Zj's values. So 12 minus of 8 will be as 4, 16 minus of 16 will be 0, and then 0 minus of minus 4 by 5. Again 0 minus of 0, the value will be getting. So this is the value we used to get it. So in this we need to check it that which one is of again we need to reach the optimality condition, whether all the values are 0 or it will be as negative. So see this, in this 3 values are negative, 1 value is positive. So again the optimality condition is not reached. So in this we need to see the highest positive value. The highest positive value is of 4. So see the corresponding column variable. The corresponding column variable is of x1. So this is your entering variable. So what we should do in the sense means, this entering variable value should be divided along with the solution. So 6 divided by 10 by 20, the value will be getting as 12. Again 32 divided by the corresponding key column, 32 divided by 4 will be of 8. So in this again we need to check that which one is of lower. So lower value is of 8. So this one is a leaving variable. See the corresponding variable. The corresponding variable is of S2. So the leaving variable is of S2. So mark this corresponding row. This row is said to be your key row. So we have found that key column is of x1 and then key row is of S2. So see the intersection element. The intersection element is of 4. So this 4 is said to be the key element. So again we need to iterate it because we have got the positive value here. We need to do the second iteration. So in the iteration 2, what we should do is, here the leaving variable is of S2. So instead of S2, which variable should be replaced? X1 should be replaced. So instead of S2, X1 will be replaced. And then see the X1's coefficient. X1's coefficient is of 12. So that should be placed in the coefficient part. Again what we should do in the sense means, each and every element should be divided by the pivot element. So the S2 is 4 is divided by the 4 is divided by the pivot element 4, so it will be as 1. 0 divided by 4 will be as 0. Minus 2 by 5 divided by 4 will be as minus 1 by 10. Again 1 divided by the pivot element of 4 will be as 1 by 4. Again 32 divided by 4 will be as 8. So that should be written here. And then next we need to find for x2. So x2 is that all the new values we need to find according to the formula which are specified. New value equal to whole value minus of corresponding key column value into corresponding key row by the key element. So the same thing. So x2's old value is of 10 by 20, and then the corresponding key column value, the corresponding key column value into corresponding key row value divided by the pivot element or the key element. So we will be getting a 0. So like this we need to find for all the values, and then all the values after we are finding by using this formula one by one, the values will be filled in this table. So after that what we should do is, again we need to find the Zj. So the Zj can be calculated by multiplying CBI into x1. So 16 into 0 plus 12 into 1, the answer will be as 12. 16 into 1 plus 12 into 0, the answer will be as 16. The same thing should be did here. So after doing this entire part, we will be getting the Zj value, and then we need to check the optimality condition by finding Cj minus of Zj. So Cj minus of Zj, 12 minus of 12 0, 16 minus of 16 0, 0 minus of 2 by 5 minus 2 by 5, 0 minus of 1 minus 1 you will be getting. So in this we have reached the optimality condition, because the optimality condition is that all the maximization problem of Cj minus of Zj should be as less than or equal to 0. So we should get a 0 on, it should be as less than or equal to 0, but no positive value should be occurring. So we have got that. So at last we need to conclude our answer. So how we should conclude in the sense means, the x1 and x2 values we need to see in the tabular column. So the x1 value we got as 12, and then x2 value we have got as 16, and then the corresponding solution part what we have got, that we should write. So 128, the x1 value is of 12, x2 value is of 16. So that should be written here. So this is the final answer. Thank you.